we're looking at here is the finally fixed CarWars Vehicle Construction Program. And it isn't, of course, just about the vehicle. It's also about the driver gunner. You could have who knows how many passengers, but the program is written for a driver and a gunner. Now, if you're going to have more than that in the vehicle or in your game space, then you'll have to use the driver gunner routine I'll show you, and just print up, saving it as you go, the character details, because I don't want to use a different program for the character generation, although it's totally possible. The fact is I'm going to stay within this Excel spreadsheet because I've worked on it, and it had some issues when Sean created it way back. I don't even know, what was it, 87, 84, just an enormous time ago, for use with CarWars. And of course, we're using it to design our vehicles for TimeDriver, but that's, it's a good calculation program. So this is what it looks like. Well, I should say, this is the tab called Print Me. When you open up the application, the Excel spreadsheet, it's an application, it's a spreadsheet, it's kind of like the same. When you open up the Excel spreadsheet for either a vehicle or the generic name for the program, car program, whatever it's called, it should look like this. Whether I've saved it with this image or I don't know, it doesn't matter. But for now, this is essentially what the whole thing looks like. This is the Print Me tab, and what I want to say first off before I forget, as you can see here, this is an image that's pasted, and you see how there's something going on here? And the reason that it's pasted right there is because we need some place to put an image, but unfortunately it's on top of some data. The reason we want this is because we want to be able to print this with a picture, just so you know that there's data underneath. So when you open the program, there may not be a picture here, or there may be, but just remember there's maybe data underneath it based on what you select during the use of the program. All right, so there's the segue right there. What happens is when you go to construct your vehicle, that if you're not a Excel person, do not mess around with any of the code, period. Just follow the directions that I'm setting forth here, and you'll be able to use this program. Now, the other thing that's interesting about this program, hats off to Sean Peterson, I think, for making it years and years ago, because it is very helpful, but it's also potentially useful for creating battle mechs, because it's just a vehicle design program. So we'll come up to that some later date. But right now, this is the tab called Print Me. Chassis suspension is heavy. The chassis is heavy, the suspension is heavy. The speed is 5 spaces per turn, and top speed, and the actual is 157 miles an hour. That's really fast. The acceleration is only 1, however, but its handling is 3. The guards, or I should say it does have guards. These are retractable wheel guards that, I don't know, are they retractable on this van? I think they're not. I don't see it mentioned if they're retractable. I'll have to find out. The armor is classified as light. I'll look into that, but it is fairly light armor, and the average is 5 points per facing. So that kind of gives you a clue. That's what these things do. They give you a clue as to the amount of armor that's on something. And also remember, this is totally different than the CarWars universe, where they had 30, 50 points of armor. We are just using smaller numbers because there's a reason for that. There are, how many faces? There's 4 faces, so it's 20 points total times 5. And it doesn't include top and bottom, or under and the top and under armor. So it's an average, so it's 20 points total. And then it's got active suspension, which adds 1 to the handling class, which is why the handling class is 3. Okay, so then there's also some accessories that we got listed here because they're important. One is a bumper trigger. And that means to say whatever weapon is linked to the bumper trigger, if anybody bumps into this vehicle, it's going to fire those weapons. If they're out of ammo, fine, but it's going to fire those weapons without any say of the command, the pilot, the driver, gunner. It's going to fire whatever's linked to that bumper trigger. Could be front and back weapons. And he also has an autopilot. So obviously, autopilot means on freeway. The space remaining and cargo. So he's got 3 spaces remaining and 6 spaces of cargo remaining. And the type of tires are PR steel radial, and that increases the handling class as well by 1. And they're puncture resistant steel radial, and I think that means they're fireproof tires too. So yeah, there's an investment in this vehicle. Now, weapon section. He's got machine gun. Well, there's 2. You see how the quantity's over there and the weapon is there? There's a reason for that. There are certain manipulations I could not do in the program. Okay, I had to leave things because of the width of certain cells to get them to work right. So I had to put quantity over here away from where you think it would be over here. Anyway, so there's 2 machine guns. They're an area effect weapon with HD ammo, high density ammo. There's a smoke screen, and it doesn't say any quantity because there's just 1. And it's normal smoke. And here's tear gas discharger. What that is like a pillow attached around someplace on the vehicle. And it just is normal tear gas. So that's a tear gas discharger. There's only 1. It probably is linked to the bumper trigger, and it's probably in the back. So when it gets bumped in the back, the tear gas comes flying out, and that's one way that the smoke screen can have one kind of ammo, which is normal smoke, and this tear gas discharger has tear gas, normal tear gas. Then there's here we go, spike dropper. This is the defensive weapon coming out the back. He's dropping a whole bunch of little spikes that are going to mess around with tires, and in this case they're explosive, so that's even worse. When you drive over these, they explode as well as puncture. So this is bad, and of course there's only 1, so that's why there should be a number there, but it's just only 1. You can only have 1. Recoilless rifle, only 1, and it's in a turret, but it has high explosive anti-tank rounds. So this guy is definitely a character to be reckoned with. This is a machine to be reckoned with. Don't be fooled by the glass, because a lot of guys, when they do these models, they put little covers on, little pieces of either tin foil or something that makes it look like metal there. I'm just leaving these things. I did the paint job per se, but that's fine. I could put little covers on here and make it look really apocalyptic, but I just like the blue, so I left it. And so then we're moving on to other accessories. So he's got the 2-space turret. There's details on it. There's no tire damage because he's got anti-lock brakes. And it gives him whenever he encounters a hazard, that it gives him a better chance of negotiating that hazard. He has a ATAD, an automatic target acquisition device, but it costs $1,000 for every weapon that's connected to it. We assume the recoilless rifle is attached to that, so that adds $1,000. So hence the cost. But this thing is automatically target acquiring. It'll automatically turn and get on the target, and then it waits for you to pull the trigger. There's no laser guidance link, and these are other things that doesn't have. That they're here for when you do get them. They'll show yes it does, yes it does, yes it does. But in this case, there's no spoiler. No, that's an error. Actually, I need to take that out of there. That'll be replaced with another feature maybe. So it does have a targeting computer. This is the detail of it. It has no paint windshield with the detail. Long distance radio with a detail. What does it mean? An improved fire extinguisher, and then there's no other modifiers to the armor or shape of the thing or the frame. And it doesn't have hubs. It has guards, and it does have a roll cage, and it has extra driver controls. Here's the layout of all the armor: front, back, rear, I'm sorry, front, back, right, left, top, and under or bottom. And then along the bottom we see the speed track where you'll slide your little marker. It's a little plastic arrow that slides onto the cardstock, and that's what you'll set your speed with. And that's it.